So as you guys can see, we are in a very interesting place right now. We are actually underwater, believe it or not. This is a pool, this is the water, and we are joined by my brother Ethan. So happy to have you here, bro, on the School of Athens.
So happy,
super excited. This is a very interesting guy. He comes from Australia. In fact, you know what? I'm not even going to do the intro justice. So, Ethan, you mind sharing to the people who you are, where you come from, what you're currently doing, and maybe just how you got here in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. So, my name is Ethan Nguyen. I am 22 years old. I'm Vietnamese, born in Australia. Born and raised in Australia. My business journey so far has started since I was pretty young, I would say. You go to tutoring when you're in like primary school, early high school, those kind of things. And I went to the store, got candy, went back to class and sold the individual pieces of candy to my other classmates. So that's kind of like what started it. And I didn't even realize at the time what I was doing at all. I was just selling things, right? And so ever since then, it carried on, into high school, did entrepreneurial programs. I love entrepreneurship, right? Just the game of business in general, doesn't really matter what model it is. Currently though, I'm running a marketing agency, helping out real estate agents so that they can get more clients. It's essentially as simple as that. And I think the reason I'm here today is obviously because I'm here on a client retreat from one of the guys. So here because of that. Also on this second week now, it's more of like a chill networking kind of thing. We're at this beautiful villa.
The spa house,
right? We've got pool behind us, salt bath over there, sauna and steam room as well, which is crazy. So this is honestly one of the coolest places you could ever film a podcast. But so that's why I am even here in Cape Town in the first place. And I think the point of this podcast is because we had a great conversation the other day about consciousness and how that ties into running a business and just operating as a human being. So yeah, I'm very excited for this chat today.
It's going to be amazing. I actually also think it's like, the conversation he's talking about, it was late at night. We were in Camps Bay. It was one of the last days of the client retreat there as well. And just to sort of pre-frame that situation, everyone in the house that goes to this retreat is making, let's say, anywhere from 5 to some of the boys making 35K a month. And we all go to a retreat like this to essentially learn from each other via just osmosis, unconsciously, and then implementing these new systems to make more money. That's also why we're doing this right now. And also as a part of that is enjoyment as well. And the conversation that we did have was extremely interesting. We're talking about the 8 different dimensions or whatever. Well, it's fascinating. So that's like the main topic for this sort of podcast, because he has a very interesting take on how to actually synthesize that information and how he conveyed it to me and Andrew really like changed stuff for us. So we're definitely going to get in that a bit later during this podcast. But I think first of all, when you come to a place like this, what do you think is like, when I try and convey the power of these type of trips, it's very difficult to put it into words. What do you think is some key things that made you decided to do this trip? And what is the overarching value that you have experienced so far on this trip so far?
Yeah, so the reason I went on this trip in the first place is for myself to gain experience in the world. Obviously travel, experience new things, go to a new country, meet new people, right? Build a network. But it was really just to gain more experience, right? I've never been to the African continent, never been to South Africa as a country, and never experienced, Cape Town as a city as well. And so it's just going to new places, getting uncomfortable, because as everybody knows, when you sit at home, you're doing the same thing every single day. You know everybody at home, you know the places you're going. You're kind of, I wouldn't say stuck, but it doesn't allow room for growth, because as we all know, growth comes from discomfort, right? And how much more discomfort can you get than being on the complete other side of the world by yourself? This is actually my first solo traveling trip as well. I've never flown overseas by myself, so this is the very, very first time. It's just a very, very cool experience to come out here and meet new people. I think the value that I've gotten here so far is just making new friends. So first and foremost, making new friends, Quinton and Andro here. And then beyond that, when you meet people in the space, it unlocks things that you may have already knew, but as we've been talking about it, it gives you permission to take the next step. So some people, are doing the same thing. So Braden and Ricardo are doing real estate agency just like myself. And it's just hearing like their tactics or what they're doing, it creates an unlock in my mind. And I'm immediately like, wow, that's all I need to do to get to the next level. That's all I need to do. I changed this one thing and I'm there, right? But it doesn't come from speaking to people online. Unfortunate as it is, like being in person with people really allows you to see the emotion in them and gain their experience. Because online, obviously you can talk, but there's a certain lack of closeness to it, and you're not really able to get as deep with someone or have.
It's not as personal.
It's not as personal, and you're not able to get deeper into the conversation or gain more from their experience just because like it's just a person on a screen, right?
No,
And
you
so-
mentioned something crucial, which is permission to have. And reality transferring, they talk about this a lot. So essentially, just some context. In reality transferring, they say, so outer intention, everyone knows what intention is. That's like the decision to have an act. That's what they say intention is. So to have it, and then inner intention is to act. Outer intention is to have it. And they say outer intention is actually more important than inner intention. Outer intention is like 80%. So it's just literally giving yourself permission to have it. It's to choose the goal. And that sounds so crazy to people. It's like, what? You don't even have to work for it. You just literally have to choose it. Where did you kind of come up with these concepts or learn these concepts? In like books or experience?
Yeah, so it's only really been over the past few months. I had a bit of a tough time during October. And ever since then, I feel like I kind of had a shift and like an unlock in my consciousness. And I think that's where all of this began. So we've been talking about consciousness a lot over the past few days. And I think in last October is when I truly became conscious. And I don't know how to explain it necessarily for everybody watching here, but there's a level of consciousness you unlock where you're all of a sudden aware of people around you, of things that are happening in the world, how people react to things, and you have more of a bird's eye view of the situations that are happening around you. And ever since then, I've just been like, I used to consume a lot of, YouTube content on SMMA, sales, marketing, whatever the case may be, but more so recently over the past 3-4 months, it's just been things like psychology, consciousness, meditation, being still, all these kind of things. And it's taken me on a really different path than most people go to in business, because I'm not so like deep in the weeds of what's the marketing tactics, what's the sales tactics, what is the lever I can pull here. I think that's what being here provides me. Like being around other people gives that lever and that little piece of tactic that I can pull to get to the next level. But within myself and what I really try to, how I'm trying to build myself is more so internally, not so much with like the money, the nice things. I want to know myself more and really understand the world for myself, if that makes sense.
I think, I can't remember where I sort of came to this conclusion. I think it was with who were we speaking to? I can't remember who it is now. But essentially, it's like true success lies not in just achieving like all these goals and like having like this.
I think it was
fancy
Oscar
car. Was
said
it with
that.
Oscar? Oh, it was with Oscar. You're right. It's like you need to know yourself, like know thyself, like know what you want truly.
Yeah.
And then only when you align yourself with your inner true sort of, what do you call it? Like if you want something, your desires,
Yeah.
and you work towards that, then you'll find ultimate, like not fulfillment, but it's like you'll find a sense of peace in that purpose. There's passion behind that on your journey towards that, because it's very easy to get caught up in the like, oh, my name is Quentin Weber and I make 20K a month in this industry, okay? And like you do not want to become attached to your entire identity to I am what I do, or I am what I have. That's like the D1, D2, and D3. You guys understand what we're talking about right now? It's a different consciousness.
Go into that right now.
Yeah, well, we definitely need a segment from this into that right now.
Yeah.
But it's like you want to transcend that, okay? Because you are not what you have, you are not what you do, In fact, you are.
Exactly.
You are the thing that you're experiencing right now. Like you are that thing thinking. And I think it's very important. In fact, let's use this segment to get into this entire just conversation. So what do you call this? Do like a brief overview of the 9 different things, and then we can break down each one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you can pre-frame it as well if you think people need to know something before we get into it or whatever, because
Yeah.
a lot of people might be in D1, 2, or 3, and we know like this.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's, I think we'll take it back to the original kind of story that I told both of you guys on that night,
Yeah, let's do
and
that.
what kind of really brought it down and deep. So I think it was probably 3 weeks now. So I had an experience where God visited me. And so I'll take it a little bit back before that. So the night before that happened, I went out to another networking dinner in Sydney, my hometown. And that was from a bunch of Capital Club guys, if anybody knows that. Some of my friends invited me out to that. We had dinner, it was nice. But then after that, we went to a cigar lounge where, you start to chill, have deeper conversations. We talked about God, we talked about future, our past, what we wanted our lives to be like in the next 10 years. And not a lot of people, even think about that in the first place, but we were all asking each other about that. And we had another conversation as well about like shrooms. I don't know what they're called, like psychedelics, right? Mm-hmm. So like shrooms, DMT, ayahuasca. So we had that conversation, and from my, the past 3 months of learning about psychology, about mindset, about consciousness, I've heard a lot about shrooms. So I've already been wanting to try it. And so I haven't tried it yet, but that was the conversation that we had. That was a Sunday night. Monday night, the next day, I was extremely stressed with the business, with hiring at night. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but I went to bed to pray, right? Extremely, extremely stressed. And then for whatever reason, when I was praying, I just switched in my head and I thanked God for all the stress. And then as I was praying, when you go down into sleep, like you get down closer into the sleep level, I think it's the theta state that Ibrahim talks about, right? All of a sudden, instead of actually like shutting off and sleeping, my mind separated from my body. And I felt like I was floating outside of myself, right? I went into the spiritual plane, I guess you could say. And so from that, I felt God visited me, and what I realized was that God was energy, right? So I saw like this wave of energy above me, and it was essentially God coming here to give me a vision and give me energy, right? And what I saw from that experience and that vision was essentially, I saw the people around me, why they were in my life. I saw my future, I saw my past, even through my parents' perspective. Like, I don't know how it happened, or like, I can't really explain much of what happened, but I essentially like went into the spiritual plane and like just saw everything. It was kind of the craziest experience. But then after, I'll fast forward a little bit. After this experience, I spoke to some guys and realized that this was actually some sort of DMT experience, which is a natural, I think it's a human hormone that gets released about like in the last 7 minutes of your life. Like when you're about to pass away, your body naturally releases DMT, and you kind of, when people say your life flashes before your eyes and you see everything, that's the experience I had about 3 weeks ago now. And so from that experience, I reached a level that is called 8D in terms of consciousness, which I'll kind of go into now. But essentially, it's like unlocking such a level of consciousness that you can identify every lower layer of the consciousness now and kind of see the moments where you are acting within that certain level. And so let me quickly break it down. It's very interesting. I'm sorry if that story was a little bit long. Actually, let me pull it up on my screenshot. I got it here. So there's 9 levels of dimensions, and I watched this from a video a few days after this experience, and it kind of put everything into perspective and made it like so much more obvious, and it actually put a label on what I experienced. So,
and even just before we continue, even if you're not spiritual or in any way, like, just give this situation the potential to make a shift in your life, because like when you listen to what this is gonna like, or how he's gonna explain this and synthesize information, it's 100% gonna make sense to you. Like you will listen to this, experience it, and it will make sense. And whatever you do with that afterwards is up to you. So
We can put a screenshot as well.
yeah,
on the
yeah.
screen. That'll be good.
Yeah.
Send this to me afterwards. Yeah.
For sure. So let's go through the levels then. So there's 1D all the way up to 9D. And essentially these are different levels of consciousness that different people in the world experience and are, I guess, vibrating at a certain point in time. So right now we're all about 4, 5D, like we can really understand it because we're consciously thinking of it. But let me break these down. And I'm not an expert at all. I just watched this video and it kind of unlocked an understanding for me. So 1D is the level where there's like no consciousness, essentially black holes, parasites. And how you can think of this is that, like, if you know what a black hole is, it just sucks all of the energy out of whatever region it's in. So black holes in space, they suck out the light. They're just completely parasitic beings, right? There's no consciousness at all in them.
Is this a level of NPCs or is that?
No.
This is not the level of NPCs.
It's like looking at someone that's already passed away, and you look at their eyes. And there's nothing.
So this is like 1D is more like an animalistic level of consciousness. So you see animals. You're like when you see like lower level animals, you can tell that like there's nothing going on up here. Like there's no consciousness, right? They're just acting upon instinct, and that's more towards 1D. And then now 2D is a level of you are what you have.
So if you enjoy this conversation and you relate with the health and wealth aspect, and you know both of these are very important when it comes to scaling a business or just as an entrepreneur in general, top link in the description if you want a more personalized approach, to scaling a business or in the health aspect as well. And also in the description is access to our free community where we've got 20 hours of content that you can just consume.
100%. If you enjoy this conversation, share it to a friend. Maybe think about subscribing, put the notifications on. It helps the channel a lot. And by doing so, we can get some more interesting guests like this. So let's get back to the video.
So this is, in this video, it's explained as narcissists. So essentially, all your worth, all your personal worth is tied to what you have. So if I have this phone, I'm the guy that has this phone, right? I have the camera, I have the mic, whatever the case may be, I have the watch, okay? And so 2D is you're really tied to what you have, and that's your entire identity, right?
And like removing that thing is gonna remove power of this person because his entire ego and his entire personality is embodied in this thing. It's like, I am the guy with the Porsche. Like that's me. I'm this rich guy because I got the Porsche. Now someone takes away that Porsche, who are you now?
Exactly.
Is your identity the Porsche? Is that what it is?
Exactly. And so that's the kind of thing that I've been trying to really consciously stay away from recently. Like I don't want to be attached to any sort of material thing. Obviously, I love material things, but I don't want to tie that to my identity, right? What I'm trying to do recently is really love myself, love just the world, nature, being still, all those kind of things. And so, that's level 2D, where you are what you have, and it's labeled as narcissist, right? Level 3D is now you are what you do. And this is where a lot of people in the entrepreneurial space and in your job, in jobs, this is where they're at, right? And this is essentially called matrix people, which is what Andrew Tate wants people to get out of, right? So I am what I do. That's this 3D level. Essentially, like you asked me before, or you go out to people, you ask, oh, what do you do? I run an agency, right? And this is the level where you're kind of stuck in the rules of the matrix that has been designed by people hundreds of years ago, right? It's like, I run an agency, that's what I do. You run a podcast, right? You run a school community, that's what you do, okay? And at this level, that's all people can really talk about, right? Just what do you do, and then what do you have, the level below, right?
What's funny is that when people break out of the matrix, like we broke out of the matrix, but we just entered a new matrix.
Exactly.
It's still in the matrix.
It's still in the matrix.
It's what you do. It's like, but we can.
It's interesting because at any point in time during the day, you can be at any of these levels, and it takes unlocking a level of consciousness to understand that you are at one of these levels. So when you're working, like when you're on your computer, you're doing work, you're just in 3D, right? You can't really help it. It's just your level of consciousness because you are literally physically doing things. and that's fine. Like
Yeah.
you're just at that level.
How does that work again? It's like a D2 can't necessarily jump to a D4 because it first needs to be D3. So D2 essentially tries and pulls D4 people down. Like,
Yeah, so each lower level, as I understand it, tries to pull the energy of the higher levels down, right? And so that's why they say, the 5 people you hang around are how you're going to be, like paraphrasing. But if you're around people who have lower energy at a lower level of consciousness, naturally, just by being around those people, you're going to be sucked down to that level of consciousness, right? But us being in this space together with like high level entrepreneurs, it brings us up, right? And it allows us to unlock the next level, if that makes sense.
a good example of this is, for example, like when Andre and I go out, like we got this thing, it's like, I'll just quickly explain the story. It's like, there was a comedian, he talked about everybody wants to go out, nobody wants to be out, okay? So everyone's like, okay, I want to go to a restaurant, but nobody actually wants to be there. Because if you get to a restaurant, then you think about, okay, now I need to order. Okay, now I'm going to eat. Now after I eat, what am I going to go do back home? Okay, I'm driving home, I'm going to go back home, I'm going to work. And then when you get to the point where you need to work, you think about, okay, after this I'm going to eat again, maybe shower, then go to bed. And then the next day you plan. It's like, you always continually wanting to go out, to do things. And so we have a thing where we're like, whenever we, for example, we took the Porsche yesterday for like a joyride back home, and we like driving back and we like, we out right now, bro. Like, this is what it is. This is out. And so like, you keep on reminding each other, this is what it is. And it's like the same thing, like during the day, like we'd say, okay, D3, oh, that guy's D2, oh, we're D5 right now. It's like, you just remind each other and you bring almost your unconscious mind, you snap it back to reality and you take control of that. Because most of us are at a point right now where, especially if you're not as like successful as you want to be, or like this amazing, like we have some limiting beliefs that we still need to work through. And so having other people that's aware of those as well, because they're trying to fix that in themselves, they're able to point that out to you. And so it's so important to get people that you surround yourself with that is, first of all, aware of what's happening, also trying to better themselves, but secondly, have the courage to call you on your bullshit. In a nice way. It's like, bro, you D2, chill out, like, let's move on, this is not that deep, whatever. I think that's so important. That's, once again, the networking is amazing.
Yeah, it's really interesting to identify, like once you guys understand these kind of things, it's really cool to like see people out there and you kind of identify what level of consciousness they're currently operating at, right? Obviously, not everybody is always at the higher levels of consciousness. It's like I said earlier, you can be at any certain level, but now once you understand the next things that we'll talk about, it's like you can really identify where people are, and I think it's just super cool. But yeah, so
we're at D4 now.
Where I think we are currently, and we'll explain to you guys what that means. So essentially, 3D is what you do, right? This is matrix people. Now, 4D in this video is explained as I am my thoughts and I am my emotions, which is kind of diving more into like mind and psychology. You're starting to understand like the things I think really affect what's happening around me, right? Like how you perceive life, how you perceive somebody, doing something bad to you. Like at this level, 4D is when you can start recognizing your own thoughts, right? You're not just going blindly throughout life and not really thinking about anything. You've unlocked psychology now. Like you've unlocked the power of your mind to realize the things around you. And I think this is what many people do unlock 4D. It's just like, I think especially in the entrepreneurial space as well, you're kind of forced to go up the ladder and gain more consciousness. Because obviously you make more money, you have to deal with more people. You have more responsibility, and so you have to think more about things, right? And once you think more about things, it kind of unlocks your mind. And so that's where 4D is, but it's like you're very still attached to your emotions and how you're feeling, that kind of thing. 5D is the next level where it kind of gets crazy. So 5D is explained as I am the now, which is stillness and the power of now. And I kind of want Quinton to just go through the book, The Power of Now, to kind of explain that a little bit better. But just quickly, recently I've been wanting to be very still and appreciate the moment. Because if we all think about it, the moment right now is all we have. We don't really have the past and we don't know what the future is like. And technically, the past, the future, and time, it's not real. right? It's just a
It's
construct.
actually proven now, like time is not real.
Exactly. It, like none of this stuff is actually real, and it's all in our mind, our perception, right? And so being still in the moment now, being on this podcast, looking into each other's eyes, like feeling, the chemistry, the camaraderie here, that's really cool. And so what I've been doing recently in 5D is where you're just still with the universe. You realize that, you walk outside at night, you look at the stars, you breathe in the air, it's fresh, like you're here now, I'm present, I'm a human. And I think that's a really cool state to be in, because you realize that all my thoughts and all my emotions, they're just kind of not really beneficial to me, and there is not necessarily a need to feel these because I'm just here. Like, I just exist, if that makes sense.
Do you think that's a good state to operate from? Like Eckhart Tolle obviously wrote the book Power of Now. He's like the still guy. Do you think he went to D3 to write that book? Or was he still like, obviously you can still be present while working, but what's your thoughts on that? Like, can you be present while working essentially?
I do definitely think you can be present while working. And I think
that might be the flow state. Like that might be what it is. Like what would be the flow state?
I think flow state's pretty unconscious. Like,
flow state becomes, I guess, slightly unconscious.
I think you are what you do then is flow state, because you are literally like you are the activity.
But let's take it for example, like it's definitely unconscious, but it's like let's take like the best example is LeBron James or Steph Curry, like just when they just like they're just shooting, it's just going in. It's like they're not thinking of anything else. They're not thinking of the people around them, their goals. They just there thinking, okay, I'm doing this. Like boom, boom. They're not thinking of anything. Like that is very present, I would say. It might be unconscious, and we might have one or two definitions maybe incorrect here. But like I think to summarize, like also just the book, and I'm definitely like just the best way to do that is essentially just talk about the present moment is essentially experiencing everything for what it is without projecting anything in the future or thinking about anything in the past. It's like talking about like you can only be anxious if you're living in the past, and you can only be depressed living in the past, and you can only be anxious living in the future.
Yeah.
When you're in the present, it's impossible to do any of those other two things. And it's also seeing your emotions and your thoughts as like visitors and your mind as a house. And it's like literally letting people or like, the visitors, like your thoughts and emotions come through the house, but you don't need to give them coffee or like let them sleep over. Like you let them walk in the front door and go back out. You don't need to pay attention to all these thoughts and emotions. Like yesterday we spoke about, I told them I'm a bit like out of my routine right now. Like I'm feeling a bit anxious just because like I know anxious meaning I'm projecting into the future. Like my variables aren't isolated, so it's difficult for me to project a certain future because my routine isn't isolated. But I told myself, well, he asked me why do I feel anxious? And I think there's a benefit to knowing you are anxious, but you don't need to give energy to that. And I think the power of this entire thing is it's a tool that you utilize to become aware of your situation, and then from a different perspective, you can decide how you want to operate. Knowing that I was anxious was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do anything about this because I can't do deep work, so I'm just going to remove that emotion. I'm not going to feed it any energy. I'm just going to move forward.
Yeah, correct. And just to tie into that, so again, 4D is the mind and psychology, your thoughts and emotions. 5D is you're in the now, you're being still, right? And it's kind of cool to see, like, when we were talking yesterday about that, you were feeling anxious, right? So you are your emotions right now, right? But then having the understanding of, being present in the now, like unlocking 5D allowed us to really think and take our thoughts away and just hold them.
That is what it was. It's like me being anxious, you asking me that question, and then me coming to the realization, oh yeah, you're right. I don't need to feed it any energy. I can just move on. Then I literally consciously switched into D5.
It's very cool.
I transcended my emotions and my thoughts. I'm anxious. Oh wait, I don't need to feed it energy. Cool. I can just be present.
Yeah, and so this kind of like, obviously this works for business, and that's why I'm kind of really into this kind of stuff at the moment, because it really does tie into business. Like, obviously, Quinton, myself, and Andre, we're probably all like stressed about trying to get to the next level in our businesses, right? But it's so cool that we have this level of consciousness now where we can identify, okay, cool, I'm very stressed and I have anxiety about my current situation. because I don't have my routine, right? Things are out of order. It's not the clear path that I can see. But sometimes, and a lot of the times, we just need to realize that, you know, we are on the right path no matter what we try to do, right? Like just us being in business, trying to help out clients is already proof of us being on the right path. The way we get there, how fast we get there, it's not really up to us. Obviously, we can put the work in, but there comes times where it's like, you feel anxious, but like, why? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you feel stressed for the future, but in this moment right now, what can you really do that will have any sort of outsized returns, you know? Especially in
just do
relation
that.
to the emotion.
And then just do that, essentially.
Exactly.
And then your anxiety will disappear as well, because action alleviates anxiety.
Exactly. Well, yeah, so that's 5D. Okay, so we've got 3 more, so 6, 7, and 8, and these are kind of less practical, I guess you could say. So 6D is where you are now creating your own reality, and which is what I am trying to do, right, with all of this stuff. And it's where you're the creator. So 6D, how I like to think about it is like you create your reality from the actions and the thoughts and how you operate through life, right? Us being here together is creating our future, but we just can't perceive it right now. And it's weird because like 6, 7, and 8D is not something you can really perceive with your eyes. And that's why the mind is like the most important thing, like your beliefs, like how much you believe in something, what you believe in the first place, because what you believe in up here really will manifest into reality as long as you are in this state where you know, I am the creator. It doesn't matter necessarily what I do or what I feel. Me, myself, being the person will eventually allow my reality to have what that person has, right? And I'm just creating my reality now. And as it goes up, it's kind of really hard to explain if you haven't experienced it just yet. But that's essentially what 60 is. You're now the creator of your reality, right? Like me being on this podcast right now, I'm essentially creating my future reality. I'm on YouTube or wherever this is going to be posted. I'm going to build my personal brand, and that's my future reality now, right? But what I'm doing right now is going to create my future. So that's 6D. Now, 7D is where you essentially you're multi-dimensional. And as we said before, you can be any of these levels at a certain point in time. You can be all of them, right? So this is where you can overview all of the lower dimensions now. So you are the creator. You understand the power of now, right? You see the mind and psychology. You see people's thoughts and you feel their emotions, right, with empathy. You see the matrix people, what they're doing. You see the people who are narcissists that, you know, are just what they have, and you can see it all. It's kind of like you're at a bird's eye view now, and you're at this level of consciousness where you're just perceiving people's consciousness, right? Which is what we had that other day during that night.
While we were experiencing this, Ricardo came in the place and he was speaking about something, but like very
Some memes.
Yeah,
or something
some
like
meme
that.
or something. And as he walked out, I'm like D3 or
Yeah.
D2, like something like that.
Exactly.
And it was literally in that moment I realized like what, like that it just happened. Like that movie speaking about right now. It happened.
It's like we were sitting talking like this, right? It was nice and dark at night. The wind, the ocean was out there. We were it helps when you're in a state of stillness to get to this level, right? Theta state, right? You just sit, you're still, you breathe in air, it's fresh, you appreciate the nature around you, you appreciate the people next to you, and then you can just see. Like we were sitting, Ricardo was, you know, in the living room area. He came out, he showed us a meme, and instantly, as soon as he walked back into the living room, we understood that he was at a level where he was just doing things, right? No real consciousness or thoughts, unfortunate as it is to say. But he was at that level, and at 7D, where you can overview all of the lower dimensions, you really just see where people are at the current set in time. So that's 7D, it's really cool. And now,
we are at these levels also during the day as well. Like there's nothing really wrong with any level.
There's
like throughout the
nothing
day, you are shifting between these. So
you need them. You
Exactly,
need them
but you
for
can spot
specific
them.
purposes. Yeah. So, like for example, 3D, you need to do what you need to do during the day. Right. We all have work to do. At 4D, mind and psychology, you know, your thoughts and emotions. You need to understand what you're feeling. Okay, so that you can really process it and either is this a good emotion to have? Should I use this? Or is it a bad emotion to have? And maybe I don't want to experience this right now and push it away, right? 5D, obviously being still, just slowing down, realizing that, it's all going to work out. We don't need to be so invested and really just pushing for it, because when you try too hard, sometimes it doesn't come to you, right? But when you sit back, you let things happen to you, all of a sudden they just fall into your lap. That's how I see it, right? And so each one of these levels, you can experience at every single different point within the day, but they all have a purpose, okay? And now 8D and 9D is kind of like the craziest parts, and I think it's harder to understand if you haven't necessarily experienced it yet. But 8D is where you are all that is. And that's where you have access to all information. And I believe this is what happened when I had that sort of DMT experience, when I was stressed and when I was praying. So what this is essentially, you can see everything. You understand that, I am literally the same as under here. I am the chair, right? It's weird to say, but like, I am the camera. We're all coming from the same source of energy, which is God, right? The chair's over here, the water in the pool, the glass over there. We are all of it at once. And it's really, really hard to explain, so I might sound crazy, but that's fine. But I had this experience when I was watching this video specifically, and she explained that, 8D is when you are all that is. I was at a Lunar New Year celebration with my family, and I just realized, I sat there and I was like, wait, I have everything. I am everything already. Like, my family's out there enjoying themselves, having a great time. I don't really lack anything. I don't need anything. I don't want anything. I have everything and I am. And it's just a really weird, state to be in, because you're just kind of connected with the universe and not really worrying about anything else. And it's kind of weird because obviously as a business owner, you want to be really locked in and really trying hard in the business. But recently, after discovering all of this stuff, I've just been sitting back and like appreciating, being still, knowing that I have everything. And something that I'd like to say a lot, and these guys know I say it probably too much, but like, I have my reality in my mind, in the mental plane, and the universe or the physical plane just needs to catch up. So like, I have the dream house, the dream car, the dream life in my head already, and I act as that person. I'm being that person currently in my mind, so that when time catches up, the universe, the physical plane actually catches up, I already, like, it's already in my head, and I knew that this was going to happen. And that's what happens at the 8D level.
I explained that as well in the salt bath yesterday night. Like, the only difference between lucid dreaming and actual physical reality is that physical reality, it takes time for the material realizations to come into fruition. That's all. It obviously takes a while, because in physical reality, it takes time for the matter. But the funny thing is, you'll start seeing the cars more. Oh, that's like my dream car, the Porsche.
Yeah, same. So
that exact model and color.
Exactly. So what I wanted to say about that as well, like, you start seeing it everywhere, because you just like, you throw yourself into that person, right? And so 3 weeks ago, I went to a Porsche dealership, sat in a GT3 RS. Right? I love Porsches. My dream car is a GT3 992 in manual. So I love the car, have it as my wallpaper, went to the dealership and saw it. We come here, we hire a Carrera S, the 911. So we drive it. What happens? We see a GT3 RS, literally the next day. We see a GT4, and then we see another GT3 RS. Like, everything that you see in your head, it just keeps popping up into reality all around you. Synchronicity. But it only happens once you really believe it and you see it in your head first, which is what, getting to these higher dimensions and levels actually allows you to do. So like, I see myself, like a few months ago, I saw myself traveling the world and being in Cape Town, because I found out that, I had an opportunity to go to Cape Town. So instantly in my mind, I said, okay, cool. I am in Cape Town. I will be in Cape Town. And where am I? I'm in Cape Town, right? It's like how you think in your head and what your beliefs are really shapes and dictates the actions that you'll take. And the actions that you take will literally in 60, like we said before, you're a creator, right? You create your reality. Your actions will create your reality, which is the craziest
Bro, I
thing
need to
say.
show you something, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I was like on this stuff, like, for the past 3 years. Where was it? I put up a screenshot on my Instagram. Look at this. So this was 16 August 2022. 16 August 2022. This car, right? Audi R8.
Yeah.
I said, mark my words. 24 April, right? I was taking a photo, like, R8 was like my dream car at the stage. Now it's a bit more of a Porsche guy.
Yeah.
And look at this. The exact same car with the exact same
Play.
number plate. The exact same car.
And you drove it.
I drove it.
Exactly.
And I drove it, and I was like, I look back at that photo, I'm like, wait. It's the exact same number plate. What the actual fuck is going on?
Exactly. And
I just noticed that afterwards.
Exactly. And it's such like, you have this internal desire within your mind and this internal intention,
Look at
right?
this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
It's the
essentially the
exact
same,
same
like
one.
we like this car that he's showing us right
I don't
now,
know if you can see that.
you probably can't,
Yeah.
but that is essentially the car that we've hired. It's the craziest
I
thing.
don't know what car you're gonna hire as well.
Yeah, he didn't know. Obviously I looked at it and I hired the car, but it's just like, because I wanted to create my reality, right? I wanted to experience being in and driving a 911 because that's my dream car. So obviously we're on a trip. Let's have some fun with the boys, get a car. Why not have it be the car that I want it to be in the future? And so what I did was I sat in the car and I didn't necessarily, obviously I created some content in the car, but what I really wanted to do was sit in the car, be still, feel the car for what it was, right? Get used to where the buttons are, so that in the next couple months, I know it's like, oh, it's just here. And then also it helps when you're in the physical reality, touching the thing, feeling its presence, right? Because in my mind, when I pray, when I visualize at night, I try to visualize me sitting in my dream car and feeling things and smelling things. And that's why I got the car, so that I can get into it, sit in it, feel it, smell it, right? And experience it and really bring what's in my head into reality.
Feel the emotions.
Exactly, feel the emotions. Feel all of the thoughts. And I literally, like you can say, I visualized it. This is my reality now. I sat in the Porsche and I drove it, right? I know what it feels like now. And so it's nothing crazy to me anymore. And the next few months, I will get my dream car. That's just how it happens, right?
Yeah.
I think the power lies in actually knowing what you want as well. It's like, because a good example is in matric, or grade 12, whatever. It's like my first car was a VW Beetle. It was green. But like 3, 4, 5 months before that, that was all I was focusing on. So I wanted this car. And on the road, I started seeing more of these cars. But like, were there more Beetles on the road now? Probably not. But like, my brain just focused on that. And so you can also, that's also taking control of your reality, is taking control of what you want to see. It's like, if you're going to focus on the negative things of life, you will see it more often. And if you focus on things that can benefit you into whatever your goal might be, or like, let's say, like, that's why I also think like the power of religion is so good. It's like it pre-frames your life to be in a more beneficial way as well. Or reading books, adulting sort of mindsets. It's like you are taking control of your inputs. You are essentially feeling your thoughts and emotions and hammering it down aligned with what you want it to be. It's like, oh, I'm feeling anxious, cool. That's not what I do. It's like you hammer it or you just let it go. Whatever you do, but you get it, you capture that. And the same thing with the cars, like with Andrew, with the R8. Like if he didn't know he wanted that, it wouldn't have been as powerful if he rented it later, But now it comes up. His brain sees it. He picks up this little bits or whatever, and then there might be an opportunity to do this, do that, and then 4 years later he's got the car.
Exactly. And so I think we should speak about like the conscious mind and the unconscious mind as well. So I don't know if people know this, but obviously you have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Or unconscious mind. I forget the difference, right? Essentially the same thing, but the subconscious mind is the one that is like 90% of your mind. The conscious mind is only very little, and these levels of consciousness are all essentially, and reality itself is dictated by what's in your subconscious mind, right? And so like this topic of thinking and wanting the car, like truly wanting it in the back of your mind, in your subconscious, allows you to just all of a sudden it's materialized in reality. You see the VW Beetle everywhere because it's already in your subconscious, right? And I see the Porsches everywhere because it's in my subconscious. And so whatever you feed yourself, like your conscious mind is the first filter, right? So whatever you feed it, it holds onto that and then it feeds it into your subconscious mind. So whatever you're consuming, right, whether it be positive, whether it be negative, that is what's going to shape your life and your reality. So whatever you chuck back there in the subconscious mind, that is going to dictate what comes back out into reality. So if I want a Porsche, I keep seeing Porsches, I keep talking about Porsches, I keep hearing the sound of Porsches, it's eventually going to come because that's all my subconscious mind is thinking about, right? The same with whatever anybody wants, with money, with a VW Beetle, anything like that, right? And so just wanted to quickly go into the conscious and the subconscious mind as well. And so last level of consciousness, at least in this video, is called 9D, where you just are. I am Ethan. That's all I am.
What do you do for a living? I am.
It's not even Ethan.
I am. It's not even Ethan. Ethan is a label that's being put on me, right? Technically, like without all of these labels, I just am. And this is what's called void God consciousness. And 9D is achieved every single day. So when you go to sleep, you close your eyes, your brain essentially turns off, you're back into the void, right? You have no consciousness anymore. And for however long you sleep, maybe it's 8 hours, you just are, right? Like essentially when your mind turns off and you go to sleep, do you even exist anymore? Right? You're not even conscious that you exist. And so what that means is everything in reality comes from the mind itself. Because for those 8 hours, nothing is real. It's just pitch black darkness. We're not even awake. We have no level of consciousness. And that's where the subconscious mind exists. In the 8 hours of sleep, whatever you feed yourself during the day is being fed into your subconscious mind during 9D, right? When you're just sleeping and your brain is processing what has happened through the day, if it's amazing things, if it's all positive things, it's feeding that all into your subconscious. Whatever you feed yourself will become your reality. That's how I see it.
There's a good quote on this. It's I'm not sure who said it, but no man walks in the same river twice because he's not the same man, it's not the same river. So like literally every single thing you consume, every sentence you read, every apple you eat, like every single thing on a minute, like very, very small detail, like all these books that you read, people say, oh, it doesn't work. No, it's reprogramming your mind by 0.2%. That's all. But if you do that over 5 years, hundreds of books, you are a completely different human being because that has reprogrammed you like 20%. Over 5 years, it's compounding, right? Yeah. So it's all these small things. You need to be extremely vigilant of what you put into your body and mind. Like every single small thing, like everything. The people you surround yourself with, the content you watch, books you read, all of that. It's all reprogramming you very, very small, like over like 5 years, 2 years even. It's massive. It's like newbie gains in the gym.
Exactly.
Like the first year, you're like a completely different person. Exactly. But after 5 years, it's a bit slower, gradual, but it's still happening.
Exactly. And that's the thing with like networking as well. What networking does, it reprograms your subconscious mind. It reprograms me to think, okay, these guys are making good money. These guys are doing a certain tactic and I can do the same thing. So now I believe it, right? I've reprogrammed my mind to think, okay, cool, that tactic actually works because I see it work from him. Right? I see it work from under him. And now I internally believe it. I put it into my subconscious mind and now my reality is going to be as if, whatever that reprogramming essentially said, right? And it sucks because the world has been programmed in such a way, right? Through the governments, all of these things. And that's what essentially the Matrix is and what Andrew Tate wanted to get people out of, like to just wake up people from that level of consciousness and to unlock the next level. That's essentially what it is. He's been trying to reprogram people for the past couple of years. And I think like everybody watching this, you can do it yourself as well. From the things that you feed yourself, from the things that you think. And yeah.
So what would you tell people who say this is all like a waste of time? It's like, no, I would rather do the work. What would you tell those people?
Like I don't journal, affirmations, all this stuff.
Well, obviously I can't, tell anybody to do what I do, right? I can only do what I can do. Everybody does what they want to do, right? And so the reason I do these things is because I want to be present within my life. Obviously, we only have this one life. And so how can I, in most situations, just really be present and enjoy this, right? And so recently, I think we're feeling the same thing. So over the past 2 weeks, we've been on a retreat, we've been networking, hanging out with guys. Before this, probably for the month before this, all of us were just grinding. New year, 2025, let's go, let's lock in, let's really work hard on the business, right? And that's what we were most likely doing. I was doing that as well, and I was getting great results. But with this trip now, you have to realize I'm never going to be 22 again in Cape Town with these guys in February, ever again, right? Work will always come. It will always come, right? There's always more work. It's never going to stop. You're always going to want to get to the next level.
Yeah, well, what Tim Ferriss says, like your to-do list will still not be finished on your deathbed.
Exactly. There's so much to do, right? And so if you want to work, sure, go for it. But like, I realized for myself, when am I going to be 22 again, driving a Porsche in Cape Town with my new friends around me? Ever again. It's never going to happen because the now is now, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be, as soon as this second passes, it's in the past. And I can't have that ever again. So why would I work? Like, I'm going home in the next few days. Why would I work so much when I can really experience this and appreciate it for what it is?
I also think operating out of that framework will allow you to take the risk easier because also you realize, like with Ibrahim, now I don't know when this podcast is going live, when we did with Ibrahim or whatever, if it's his podcast first or this one first,
We
whatever.
filmed a bunch.
Yeah, we did like this.
This guy's been
because
crushing.
Everyone is here, bro. So like you need to lock in. But Ibrahim is essentially like this hypnosis guy. It's like he's really good at what he does. I think it's just like he says hypnosis. It's more like just to explain what hypnosis is because it sounds crazy. What I think it is, it's more he sort of infiltrates your unconscious or your subconscious mind, and he asks you beforehand what's your desired outcome, and then he reinforces all the good beliefs, maybe implements new ones that's not there yet, and tries and detach you and get you to detach yourself from the limiting ones. And I think like he took us on this live hypnosis, so go and check out that video. It's probably around the end, which was amazing. But during that, he essentially identified, like he took us on this journey of you visualizing your current self in making 0 improvements 1 year, and then 5 years, and then 10, and then 30 years. And how you're going to feel on your deathbed, you have 7 minutes to live, all of the loved ones looking over you, and you have not made a single improvement compared to where you are now to then. Making the same money, same physique, like having the same goals, whatever the situation may be, and you're sitting there, you're just like, fuck, like is this what I'm scared of doing, is to not be here? Like, what do you mean? And then he takes you on this completely different journey. He's like, okay, you're the guy that took the risk. You're the guy that made the improvement, that went to the gym, that did the thing that was difficult. And once again, now you're sitting at the deathbed. You feel at peace, just knowing that you at least left nothing on the table. Even if you weren't the best, at least you tried to be the best with what you had, And I think that's so important. It's like, because especially the type of person that's watching this, you will find yourself in a situation, and I find myself still in that situation sometimes. It's like you are unsure if the actions you're currently taking and prioritizing is going to actually lead to a better future, because you don't necessarily have the results to back it.
Yeah.
But you still do it despite the lack of evidence, because what the fuck else are you going to do, bro? We'll go work at 9 to 5?
Exactly.
Like, not chase your dream? Like, I spoke about this in the course. Like, okay, we got about 23 episodes out of the podcast. Are we just going to stop now because it's difficult? We're just going to, like, give up? What? Like, that is the craziest thing. It's like, no, you continue doing it.
Exactly.
And then, you're going to be better off doing it than not doing it. The only way to really fail is to give up.
Exactly. And that kind of ties in with the whole, like, mental plane and physical plane thing. Like, you guys are, you're believing in a certain vision. You're actively putting in the right, action steps. Filming this podcast to get to where you want to go, right? For your future. And yeah, you might not see the results of it yet, right? But every day you take the action is going to help you get there. Yeah. In the next few months, you guys, like, I'm going to say it now, you guys are going to blow up. Like, absolutely. And I'm very grateful to be on this podcast in the first place, right? So it's just like, you really need to believe it in your head first. Really believe it. Take the action steps that this person, this higher level version of you would take, and just wait a couple months. That's it. Just wait. Like that's how I say it. Just wait a few months. Like, because all of us, when we started business, we did not see success for a solid 6 months straight. Like that's when you learn, you fail. You will not see any sort of level of success, right? But it takes a certain type of person, takes a certain mindset and belief to just know that, yeah, these 6 months are going to pass, but on the other side of that, the next day, I'll get my first client or whatever the case may be, right? It takes time for your physical reality to catch up to what's in your head.
No, that's what I always said. Winning is inevitable. Like,
It's inevitable.
are you going to quit? Like, no. So if you're not going to quit, you're going to win.
Yeah,
So it's inevitable.
exactly.
So it's then, if winning is inevitable, you are very calm.
Exactly. And that's
Exactly.
being still. And that's what I've been doing. Like, I know I have everything in here, right? I'm going to win. I'm going to have it all. Not like I'm not doing anything at all. Obviously, I still am doing things.
You're detached,
but just,
you know?
I'm detached from the end outcome because my mental reality is already here, right? But just my physical reality is here. It just has to catch up. That's all.
I mean, just look at this type of conversation that we have. Are you going to surround yourself with people not on this level? Like, you need to, if you want to improve, get people that's bringing the best out of you. You know, like, that is what I'm taking from this conversation, just from this entire 2 weeks, is you want to surround yourself with people that makes being your ideal self the easiest thing possible. And if you are around people in D1, D2, D3, okay, it's like you are, because we as humans tend to choose the path of least resistance. And because everyone else is in that state, partying, drinking, just not really improving themselves. And there's nothing essentially wrong with that, but if you want a certain level of life, you're gonna have to sacrifice certain things. And we choose the path of least resistance. And if the path of least resistance is, you know, being D2, D3 and going out and partying, well, you're probably going to do that. No matter how disciplined you are, it's going to be easier to do that, and you might end up doing the same thing after a couple of years, especially if you go through a hard time. So just don't make it difficult for yourself. You might need to isolate yourself for a little bit, and then try and surround yourself with people that bring the best version of yourself. Like, that's what Andrew and I are building here at the School of Athens, okay? Go and have a look at that. It's absolutely free. It's also like Ethan said, it doesn't mimic the true potential that an in-person, like physical, like, you know, that you have with something. It's completely different. But the second best thing is having a virtual community that you can relate to. Have calls, do the connection. So go and have a look at that. It's linked in the description.
Doing in person as well. So that's just like the initial stage to reach more people, and then from there we can cure.
Exactly. And that's literally what this is. We were part of a certain community that brought us here together, right? And I want to take it back to the end of last year. So the only reason that I was actually able to achieve, I guess, this level of consciousness was around that time, October, I was completely alone. I had time and space to think for myself, right? When you're busy all day, you know, when you're running around doing errands, doing work, clients, all of that, you don't have time to sit down and be still in 5D and just think, right? But once you have that level, you understand that for the next couple, you know, weeks or months, you're actually very, very alone. And it was a really scary feeling for me. So 1st of January this year, I made a video, obviously because 1st of January, I wanted to put something out, but I was just saying on that how, like, I felt so lonely. I was in my lonely chapter, right? And you guys know the lonely chapter from Alex Hormozy, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just speaking about. There might be a time you need to be alone,
Exactly. That's what I felt, right? But on the other side of that, because I was in this community, literally the next month in February now, I am here with you guys, which is crazy. But that can only come, and like he was saying, in 2-3D, if you're in a certain situation, you want to get out of it, first you have to be still, find the right people, and then on the other side of that, you will experience this. So, for example, with the School of Athens, which is what you guys are doing, you're creating this space where people can connect, and once they have, you know, a moment of stillness and they understand themselves, maybe they set something up, maybe you guys, you know, set up an in-person meeting. All of a sudden, once they're ready, once they're still, they have a certain level of, you know, consciousness, confidence even, you put out the message, say, who wants to join? then they're there, right? But it only comes from being around the right people, surrounding yourself with the right things, curating your inputs so that your external reality eventually becomes what you want it to be.
I think this is where like the whole different point, but this is where like the aura essentially comes from. Like people talk about.
Aura, yeah.
It's like when someone walks in a room,
That's a
they're
good
like
thing. That's
they're
a
like
good
a
thing.
high level of consciousness, and people like the lower levels are trying to get energy from there to get to the next level. It doesn't like it can be like 5D people, but trying to get like the 670 people's energy. So they walk in there, and usually like the networking stuff, it's a bit more on the lower levels. It's like 3D people trying to take from 4 and 5.
Yeah.
If you're like extremely present walking in a restaurant, you can feel that.
Yeah,
You're like
you can
really
feel
present.
it.
That's a good
You
point.
can feel
It's-
that
it's
because
crazy.
they are like gravitating towards
Yeah.
you, but like not like literally. Sometimes literally.
Energetically, they're
Like the
gravitating
entire
towards
body
you.
posture sort of moves towards you.
You're
your
like-
shoulders.
like-
also like in the friend group. It's like if you take a photo, everybody's shoulders sort of point to the guys
To
in
the
the
person
middle.
with the
guys
most
in
aura.
the middle usually is the most aura. So, I mean that's just a way to look at it. But yeah, I think we're filming for about 50 something minutes.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good place to wrap it up. I love asking this question at the
What
end.
is one?
But it's once again, I'm going to say the same thing, pre-frame the question. It's
Yeah.
like, bro, it's a cliche question, but give this question the opportunity to maybe shift something in your life. Because, like we just previously mentioned, like a couple times now, is like it takes a decision that you make with true belief behind it for you to actually achieve something. Like that's all you really need. A clear goal and the belief is possible, just step into that.
Yeah.
And so going back, let's say 3-4 years now, you, that younger version of yourself, most of the people watching this might be in that current situation. What is one thing you would have told your younger self that's the main lever you can pull that will bring him the most return on investment? That'll shift the most things in his life. One thing.
Okay. So obviously, like you say, you need to have some sort of goal, right? And you need to believe it. But on the other side of you actually achieving that is, number one, doing what you know you need to do and caring. So caring about people, about what you're doing, right? And so to, I guess, explain what I'm trying to say is I have honestly been a lazy guy most of my life, and only recently when I went through some struggles and kind of unlocked this level of consciousness that I really start doing and finding success. My success only came from actually doing. I knew I had to do all of this shit, right? But it was only when I actually did the thing that things came. Like I think you guys obviously know Chris Williamson, right? You know that
doing the thing.
Nothing but doing the thing is doing the thing, right? And so you can tell yourself all these stories, all these excuses, but until you really do the thing, nothing will happen. Like just completely honestly, you can believe it, right? You can believe it in your head, you can want it, but unless you do, it will not manifest into reality.
Yeah, like you can do the thing without even believing you can achieve it.
Yeah, and that's what some people do. Like some people just do things and all of a sudden they have things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And then they start believing it.
And then they start believing it, right? But I guess like the second point of that is caring. And what I mean by that is essentially you have a goal. Obviously it affects yourself and it affects the people around you. So how much do you actually care that you achieve this, right? And that will dictate how much you do.
I love it, bro.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate
Great
it very
one.
much.
Bro, it's a super good one.
Wow.
Super good.